Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we will start our fourth webinar session, and I invite to Master of Ceremony for this session, Miss Aprilia. Time is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Janley. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, to the moderators, speakers, and participants. How are you? I hope you're well and stay healthy. And then thank you for joining to ICYIP Indonesia-Cambodia Youth Initiative Program 2021 on Season 4. We will talk about how Indonesia and Cambodia developed their digital education and learning system in the era of Industrial Revolution 4.0 to 5.0. And then let me tell you about our schedule for today. First, we will listen the opening remarks and introduction moderator also from Ms. Tifal Shahla Abda Fiota as Human Resource Manager of Ruang International. And then second, we will listen the introduction speaker from our moderator, from Mr. Janly Emmanuel Bagensa. And then the third, we will listen our guest speaker presentation from Mr. Chia Sopia MA, as Executive Director MCAM SGen Cambodia. And then after that, we have the presentation from our guest speaker, and then we have interaction with guest speaker. And then the third, we will listen our speaker from Indonesia. She is Ms. Rahmania Rahman, MPD. She is a director of Rumah Relawan Remaja Foundation Indonesia. And then after that we will have interaction also with her. And the fifth, we will listen our speaker from Cambodia. He is Mr. Sarput Fong, a bachelor student from Department of International Studies, Royal University of Phnom Penh. And then after that, we will have also interaction with him, with our speaker from Cambodia. And the seventh, we will have Q&A also. We have Q&A session to all participants can ask a question to all speakers here. And last, we will listen closing remarks also from Ms. Tifal Shala Adapiota as Human Resource Manager of Ruang International. And last, please stay in this room because we have a photo session also in the last event. And please to Ms. Tifal to give the opening remarks. Thank you.
Okay, thank you to the MC, Miss April. Okay, I'm never forget to thank Scott for his guidance that we can attend here without any obstacles, even though we have been facing a hard time, pandemic of COVID-19, which we haven't known when it will end, but it's not distraction for us to be more productive, initiative, creative, and active, so that we can be here for today's occasion, Indonesia and Cambodia Youth Initiative Program, ICYIP 2021. The fourth webinar session, how Indonesia and Cambodia developed their digital education and learning system in the era of the Industrial Revolution 4.0 to 5.0. Well, I'd like to welcome and thank to the Honorable President of Law International and the Vice President of Law International, and to the distinguished, amazing, and outstanding guests and lovely participants here who have sacrificed all of you guys' time to be participating in this event. The fourth webinar session, how Indonesia and Cambodia developed their digital education and learning system in the era of the Industrial Revolution 4.0 to 5.0. Also, thank you to the media partner for contributing in this event, so this event will be running smoothly. Well, Indonesian and Cambodian Youth Initiative Program, or ICYIP, is an international program covering two countries between Indonesia and Cambodia to increase youth awareness of domestic issues in each country, as well as regional issues within the Southeast Asian region. This program also aims to increase interaction and communication, open opportunities for collaboration among youth, strengthen youth partnerships and networks, and open space for discussion, exchange knowledge and exchange of information, and share experiences between the youth of the two countries. This program will run for 10 sessions once a week, starting from June to August 2021, involving Indonesian and Cambodian youth speakers and also inviting keynote speakers from academics, researchers, entrepreneurs, or the government related to issues and topics discussed every session. And this program is expected to be the answer to every domestic and regional problem faced by the two countries. And gladly, we are now on the fourth session. This system focuses on the responsibility of youth to issues that developed in their respective countries and also that are developing in the Southeast Asia regional level. Indonesian and Cambodian youth are directed to be able to become the agents of change and problem solving on every issue that occurs at the demonstration and regional levels. And about Ruang International itself is an Indonesian youth organization to humanize and empower youth to be critical, creative, and active in applying and developing their abilities to be able to play a role and contribute in the midst of a good global society. And I hope through this amazing event, we can enhance our knowledge and insight as well as to be aware as the youth for facing the issues related to countries. As now we are in the situation of pandemic COVID-19, so the whole system is totally changed. We have to directly adapt to the digitalization for the better education and learning system quality because now we have to be effort twice because we have to be creative, especially we are now in digitalization era, like we have to use and spend mostly in a virtual world. And that's all from me. I hope that this event will run smoothly. And without any further ado, welcome to our speakers today, Mr. Sophia, Ms. Rahmani Rahman, and Mr. Sarafus Bong. And I'd like to say welcome again and again. I'd like to say thank you for attending this event and sacrificing your time to be here. And this is the main session that we have been waiting for. For this session, it will be directly led by our moderator. But firstly, I'd like to introduce our moderator today. For our moderator today is Jiangli Bagensa as Executive Director of Ruang International Indonesia. Well, Jiangli as well is an assistant lecturer and researcher at Faculty of Social and Political Sciences in Universitas Kristen Indonesia, and also he is a Bachelor of International Relations from Universitas Kristen Indonesia and Master Student in International Relations at Universitas Paramadina. And there are a lot of achievements that we cannot tell you all of them, but overall, I'd like to floor this session to the moderator. For Jiangli, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Tifal, for your opening and for your opening remarks and your introduction about me. And now I would like to introduce all the speakers today. Yeah. Yeah, for the first speaker, we have Mr. Sofia as the Executive Director of PUC General Library or MCAM, Exchange Education USA Center and Education USA Advisor. And also Mr. Sofia Sier, BAMA as a working in American Corner, Cambodia in 2011, and also Education USA since 2015, and the last Education US advisors since 2017. And he also take the bachelor degree in international relations from Panasastra University of Cambodia, and he also finishing the master degree in education at TESOL, and he also as the university librarian since 2003. Okay, please welcome Mr. Sia. Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Welcome.
Mr. Amsi.
Okay.
All right. So right
Okay.
now it means that that's my floor, right?
Oh, I think I would like to introduce all the speakers first.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sophia.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, and then we have another speakers. The second speakers come from Indonesia. She is Rahmiana Rahman, SPD MD. Miss Rahmi, Miss Ami as the director of Rumah Relawan Remaja Foundation, and also she take the bachelor degree in English education from Universitas Negeri Mekar Indonesia, and also finishing the master in English education and literature from Universitas Negeri Makassar, Indonesia, and also she's the founder of the floating school, and she also the founder of Indonesia Berbagi in regional Makassar, and the last she is the founder of Women of Wisdom. So please welcome Miss Rahmiana.
Yep. Hi everyone. Good afternoon. Probably today
Okay.
today will be a good time to share and also listen your story about digital learning, both from Cambodia and also Indonesia.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Rahmiana. Okay. Okay. Uh, we continue to the next speakers. As the last speakers, but not least, I think he come from Malaysia. Um, he is Mr. Sarafut Fong. Yeah. Okay, Mr. Sarafut Fong, or Miss. We also call him Mr. Sarafut. He is still as a student from Department of International Studies of Royal University of Phnom Penh, Cambodia. And he also as a YouTube content creator and the owner of the channel is SV Lifestyle, and also he is the co-founder of Youths for Youths at Cambodia, and he also uh, achieved some award, like he take the champion of GCI National Public Speaking Competition and represent Cambodia in the GCI Asia Pacific Public Speaking in South Korea in 2019. And he also is the winner of Maybank Go Ahead Challenge Cambodia round and participated in the global final round in Malaysia. And he also as the digital marketing team member at Ignite Cambodia and as the human resource team leader at practical preparation for battle. Okay, please welcome Mr. Sarafut.
Hey, thank you very much. It's a pleasure for me to be here and hope to share and learn from everyone here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sarafut. So all the speakers are all ready to share with us about some point of view from their side. So I think I invite for the first speakers to the guest speakers from Cambodia to take this time. To Mr. Sophia, time is yours.
Thank you very much, Jenly, for the introductions and brief history of my background and others. So first, just say good afternoon to everyone, and hopefully you can hear me well, right? Okay. So my name is Sophia. I'm Executive Director of the PUC General Library and AmCam Exchange, also Education USA Center, and I am also the advisor for the Education USA. So today it's my pleasure to join our program that called Indonesia-Cambodia Youth Initiative Program. That's called ICYIP 2021. So today I'm glad to be here to share with you some of my perspective and the real practice experience related to our topic today is about how Indonesia and Cambodia develop their digital education and learning system in the era of Industrial Revolution 4.0 to 5.0. So I think when I see this topic, I feel that it's a little bit broader. So actually, in terms of how to develop one component in the country, it should be the whole society and all the levels of the people, and also not only the private sector, it should be the government too that have to get involved all of this, especially the field of education, because education is a potential key to develop the country, especially refer to the human resources. So on behalf, I am working for the university library and also the AmCam Exchange. Actually, I just explained you a little bit about the AmCam Exchange. It's come from the word American and Cambodia exchange idea between youth and youth, not only Cambodia, not only the US, but everyone in the country and also outside abroad that we do. And also, I can share with you about our topic today about the digitalization and some kind like learning system in the era of Industrial Revolution 4.0. Actually, for Cambodia, we are now in 4.0, not 5.0 yet. So even though 4.0, it's some kind like new to us, even though they have like some kind like long years ago. So before we go deeply to the session, I might share with all of you and the participants, even though Cambodia and Indonesia participant, that we have to understand about the concept and term about what is the digital education and why is it industrial revolution for 4.0. So if we are talking about the digital education, we might refer to teaching and learning based on the technology. So we have to understand about the concept. So, and also the best way that technology can some kind like offer student and teacher with some kind like command with different place, not just only in the school or workplace or whatever. They can learn, they can teach, they can share some idea and thought with different background. And if we are talking about the Industrial Revolution 4.0, we might thinking about the cyber physical system, and one thing that we call Internet of Things. So in this case, I just raise only some few points, because if we are talking about the cyber physical system, it refers to social media and other. So it's gonna be another topic about the social media and digitalization, something like that. So based on my experience, and I'm working for the PUC library, and especially for the AmCam exchange, the place that we can share the idea between youth and youth. At AmCam exchange, it's some kind of like joint project between the Panya Sastra University Cambodia and the US Embassy Phnom Penh in Cambodia. The university, they create one course that called Academic Research and Information Literacy. This is the way how to access and ingest the information in terms of the digitalization, the learning system through the virtual program. And that program, we refer to some kind like researching tip and tool that to me as the librarian, I always go to the classroom and then do some kind of demonstration to do research and some tip and tool, and especially because, you know, even though we call industrialization 4.0 in Cambodia, but you might know that not most of the students, most of the citizens, they know how to use the technology. So therefore, this course we create to help the student to access and the resource, especially from the online resources. So I can say like at AmCam exchange and Panya Sastra University Cambodia, we have some kind of like e-library USA that we can guide students to do research, and also we treat them. At the previous time, before the COVID-19 pandemic exists in the world, especially Cambodia, we do physically. So we go to the classroom and then we do instruction, and then we tell them how to do this, how to do that. And also beside that, we have two criteria for students. That's the mass. So the student, they have to cross that two criteria. First one, they have to understand about the concept of doing research through online. And especially with the journal, with the article. And another one is they have to understand the key term about some kind of like search engine, especially with the Google and other resources. So our role is that we help them to assist them to get involved with some kind of like the online. Everything is online, because when we are talking about industrialization, everything is things on internet or Internet of Things. So everything is on internet. Therefore, we try to guide them and teach them the way how to do research with the best resources, and guide them and explain them the technical term inside of that resources. In here at AmCam exchange and also Panya Sastra University Cambodia, we call e-library USA. That inside of that, we have some kind of like JSTOR and other databases that contain a lot of journal. So this is the way that we can engage, or we can develop the industrialization 4.0 and the things on internet to the student. At the time, we are physically, but when the COVID-19 come in, and then within the same time, the industrialization 4.0. So we change our format, we transform to everything is online right now. So since today, I receive some kind of like request from other school and also students. They request to do some kind of like online demonstration, especially with the Zoom, with the Google Meet, and to tell them, to teach them, show them how to some kind of doing research. And also more than that, we have the Telegram group that students can engage with all of us. This 2 points. And then beside that, we also are talking about the research. Mostly we assist students in terms of tips and tools that the student they can do. And also beside that, for climate change here, because what I'm talking here, I'm not refer to the whole country, because I'm work for the university, so it's a part of the institution in one part of the education field. So we have used another different means to run our program and workshop and event here. So at the previous time, we do conduct like a physical program, and at Cambridge Chain, we have many programs that talking about the management field, the research field, and capacity building for the youth, and all of that. But we use the physically. So when the COVID-19 come up, so everything is we transform from our, we can say like traditional, that we have to come to the class face to face each other, and then we move to something like just sit down in front of the laptop, and then or like the iPhone or something like that, and just talk to each other by seeing face, and then we share some experience and knowledge. And also we conduct many programs mostly, and also we conduct like a workshop related to how to write a personal statement, or how to use the digitalization, how to demonstrate with Zoom or other Facebook Live, something like that, to the students that we can share with them. And also another thing is that we have, we can say that more than this, we can say like when we use the Industrial Revolution 4.0, it means that digital education. So when we're talking about digital education, we refer to teaching and learning. You might know that actually the digital revolution, it happened in 2011 in Europe. But for Cambodia, it's still new right now. And also, also the Ministry of Education, they adopt the program in 2019, that the minister adopt the system through the education system. And also the thing that we concern is that it seemed like new to us for Cambodia, but I think for Indonesia, it's not new, because you are right now go to a little bit further to 5.0. But for Cambodia, it's still 4.0. It's still like some kind like a blur a little bit with the case. So one more thing is that in here we have some kind like demonstrate some idea that especially right now we work with, since we have partner with the U.S. Embassy and the Panyasastra University Cambodia, we try to cooperate with other partner and other university to conduct a lot of virtual program that can help the student and the general public to learn more, to understand more about the concept of everything is like digitalization, digital education, teaching and learning. And also sometimes we conduct a workshop through online for the teachers who teach the English. And then we show them some kind of like resources that are available, especially refer to the Google Classroom that we use for our teaching in mostly in Cambodia right now, especially for the private institution. We use the Google Classroom and the Google Hangout or the Google Meet, and especially with the Zoom. So all of this that I want to share with you, but the thing is that I can find that the digital revolution and the industrial revolution can help the student a lot, because they can do some kind like they have self-learning. Because you might know that Cambodia student, like example, one student, they study with 2 universities. Can you imagine that they study with one university, and then after that they move to another university at the same time, and they study the same level, the same degree. So for the digital education, it can help them that they just stay at home, or like a spare time from work, and then they can study. So it makes more convenient to them. And also for students, especially for learning and teaching, they have to read a lot. They have to have their own self-learning a lot. So self-learning, it should be based on the digitalization and the internet connection that they have to do with that. And also beside that, they can expand, they can explore their own knowledge beside school, because physically we can say old tradition, the student have to come to the class and then listen to the teachers, and then to buy they go to buy a book and read. But when they understand more about the concept about the digital education or industrial revolution 4.0, it means that things, Internet of Things, or thing of internet, that they can do research by their own, but they can research properly or appropriate based on the teachers, based on the lecturer, because only lecturer, they know that some kind like the information is reliable, the information is trusted, and they can do some kind like a quote or whatever to the assignment or something like that. And for the so this is that we can say, and also some kind like self-motivated for students, because no one forced them, because when they know the way how to do research, the way how to access through the internet or other virtual program, they can explore more, and then they some kind like independent by their own. So they don't need someone else to push them or force them to do like some kind of research like that. And also another one is that they can have some kind like high engagement, because for example, like I experienced with some of my students at the first time when I talk to them that, oh, tomorrow we're gonna have the virtual program via Zoom, and then we're gonna talk about the why do we need to study about digitalization or understand about the concept and term. And then the question they asked me that, what is Zoom? Okay, that's the question. So we have to try to explain them that Zoom is some kind like this, like that, and then we give them the link, and then they come in. So everything, it must be, the first time is a little bit difficult, even though I myself sometimes I got struggling with the system too. And also I can say like the industrialization 4.0, it might have some challenges, issue, because sometimes the human and technology challenges. Another one is technology itself, that the challenge issue. You know what? Because the technology are modern, but the human resource, the human use the technology is not equipped or have a ground base on the technology yet. That's the issue. And another problem is that technology itself, because some kind like a smartphone, laptop, we have to update all the time, and then sometimes it based on the version, based on the error connection, because I experience all of this a lot. Because sometimes I prepare everything, I set up everything, camera system and audio and all of that, But when the day come, nothing happened. It's some kind of error, it's some kind like error connection and all of that. So I think it must be some challenging here. For Cambodia, another case that I have met is that when I host the program through virtual program, we have problem with the internet connection. Very, very important. Because in Cambodia, the internet connection, the internet cost is still high, not cheaper yet. That we can say. So in Cambodia, we don't think that a lot of students, they have the ability to afford the price of the internet. And especially even though their phone, sometimes they don't have some kind of good connection with their phone. So when they join with the program with me, they just write to me through Facebook that, oh, I cannot join because it's low services, no internet connection, well, something like that. Sometimes 2 or 3 times, and then they can access. And sometimes they can access at the end of the session because of the internet connection. That's the problem. That's what I can share with you about this session. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sophia, for your some point of view for us to understanding about the current condition for the education system in Cambodia. So to all participants have questions or to respond the presentation. Okay, is there participants raise hand? So please, Miss Failur Sufa Aska, to turn on your audio and you can ask directly to the speakers.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jian Lee, for the chance. Good afternoon, Mr. Sophia. I want to ask you about how is the technology, is it evenly distributed for students in a rural area? Because now we are in a pandemic situation, so it must be the student should learn through the internet, like Zoom or Google Classroom. How is it for students in rural area in Cambodia? Thank you so much.
Thank you for the question. So actually in Cambodia, I can say like in the city or in the city, mostly they can use the internet access and all of that. But for the rural area, they in Cambodia, the Ministry of Education, they have a TV. They have a TV online, a TV that use the cable TV, teach about the student, especially in grade 12 or grade 9, secondary or primary school, to get to know more about their class and learning tutorial. And also besides that, they mostly they can reach out to the class well, because it like 2020, the Ministry of Education, they automated system pass all the students in grade 12 automatically. So actually they do this based on the COVID-19 situation, and also the adaptation for the industrialization, the digital education through TV, because most of the Cambodian people, especially in the rural area, they can watch TV even though they don't have the smartphone. So they can watch the TV about the teaching schedule from the primary school and also the secondary school. They have the schedule, they have the session. And also they can use those and they estimate the cost and calculate the score based on their whole year calendar. So the student, they can pass for their high school. That's we can do. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the answer, Ms. Sophia. So I think we have 5 minutes to continue our session to next speakers. But I think I have one question to Mr. Sophia regarding your statement like the government focus, or maybe Cambodia focus to facilitate the Internet of Things in Cambodia and maybe technology information in Cambodia. My question is how Cambodia government support and guarantee the internet facilities and maybe technology facilities distribution to all in Cambodia, and the distribution is fair to all region. What do you think of that? Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Janli, for the question. I think it's a good question, and also it's some kind of like hard question. So yeah, actually, what I'm talking here, it's just like one perspective from the university level in terms of education, not the ministry or not the government. So it's just my own perspective and my own experience and what I have met. So actually, what I can see is that I cannot say nothing fair in this world. It should be imbalance between one another. But the thing is that the Ministry of Education, they try their own best to cooperate with other NGO and other international organizations, especially with the USAID, with it means that USAID and other organizations to some kind like cooperate in terms of the equipment, the video conference, and also other institutions, they donate some equipment to the Ministry of Education to have the teachers to teach at home and other. So besides this, actually I can say in Cambodia, the private institution play the most important role to develop and to have the Cambodian society, and especially for the students. Because in Cambodia, for the private sector, they try many ways, and also they also have the good cooperation with the ministry. And in Cambodia, they have the one organization that called the accreditation committee, that all of those committee, they have one representative from each university in Cambodia. So they work closely, and then they do report to the ministry and all of that. And then some kind like other university or institution, when they have some kind of donation from their partner from outside abroad, they can bring those donations to the ministry, and then to have especially for the Cambodian student, to learn more, to get more familiar with, especially with the technology and the digital mean, all of that. And also beside this, I work for the school, and I work for the MCAM exchange. We mostly the US Embassy, they always have the partner from outside abroad, and so they always claim some kind of donation to the Ministry of Education and to the school that they have, especially with the poor. For the US Embassy, they do some kind of project donation to the rural area, especially to the poor people that they don't have the school to study, or some kind like they actually, those students, they are smart, but they don't have ability to afford their study. So also the embassy, they have their fund for that. They try to have that. That's what I can share with you. Thank you.
Okay, nice. Thank you, Mr. Sophia, for your answer. And I think other participants have questions for Mr. Sofia, you can ask in the Q&A session in the at this webinar session. So thank you so much, Mr. Sofia, for your presentation.
Thank you. Hey, Chanli, you unmute.
Okay.
You are new.
Okay, sorry. Okay, thank you for Mr. Sofia. And now we are continue to the next speakers from Indonesian side. Ms. Rahmiana Rahman as the director of Rumah Relawan Remaja Foundation. So for Miss Rahmiana, time is yours. Okay, I think the committee still on process to share screen. The Miss
Here
Rahma
visually
presentation.
to meet all the speakers, all the team of Ruang International, and also the audiences to share and also to learn about digital education, digital learning in Cambodia, in Indonesia. So I have sent the presentation to Jianli. Can it be showed? And then I can start my presentation.
Okay, please, Miss
Well, that's
Rahmiana.
perfect. Thank you. Well, yeah, so here's the thing that I'm going to share this afternoon. It's about digital learning in Indonesia through the eyes of a volunteer. In this case, I myself, as a volunteer, as now the one who is trusted as director of Rumah Relawan Remaja Foundation. As for your information, Rumah Relawan Remaja based in Aceh, the western province in Indonesia. We work for peace education and also community development, especially in rural areas in Aceh. Okay, next. So this afternoon, I would love to share what the things that my other volunteers and I have found regarding this topic. And this is really interesting topic as I said before that one of our projects are in peace education that work in rural areas in the village in Aceh. Well, so the COVID-19 pandemic has shifted a major paradigm for many sectors, including education. Maybe most of us here feel it, even we are a teacher or students and also social workers, volunteers, or anyone, I think, where everyone in this, everyone should adapt to digital learning to many platforms that can support our learning process. Then finally, it is easy to find the students from elementary to higher level access internet via smartphone or laptop for learning in this pandemic era. This is done, of course, as an effort to prevent the spread of COVID-19 transmissions, and it is also
Sorry, Miss Rahmiana, your voice is not clear. I think you can turn off your video. and just audio, I think is will be better. Okay.
Please go on to the next slide, Jianli. So then we found that one statement from Professor Marsudi as Independent Commissioner of Telecommunications Indonesia, and maybe all of us also agree about this, that digital education is not just about application or digital technology. It's about shifting the paradigm on how technology is used in teaching and finding appropriate learning solutions. As teachers, we will really try to find how to teach our students in this pandemic era, and as a students we will think how can we learn, how can we submit our assignments by using all the applications that have been provided. Next slide, please. Then also in policies, in policy side, there are also some policies also are made or are expanded, such as in Indonesia, the Ministry of Education, Indonesian Minister of Education, he is Nadiem Makarim, established for national learning programs. Actually, it is started in 2019, but then it is spread more during pandemic. That's we call Merdeka Belajar. Merdeka Belajar is Merdeka Belajar is a in bahasa in English, a freedom in learning. The program includes replacing the national standard examination and then
Sorry, Miss Rahmiana. I think your voice is not clear. Maybe you can turn off your video. It will be better, I think.
well, how about this is the problem of a digital learning that I'm going also to share in my next slide. Well, that the next point is about transforming education through online learning. Even though there will be some facts, maybe also some facts have been shared by the previous speaker, that is also happening in Indonesia, and the other policies that have been made by provider and also ministry offer internet package to help students and teachers who could not afford expensive data charges. That some policies here in Indonesia. Next slide, please. So this is the challenges for ICT network infrastructures like I'm facing now, and then a lack of quality content, and also or issue over the competencies of the people that interact with the e-learning system. That's really
Sorry, Miss Rahmiana, again. Yeah.
I try to turn my camera off. Is it better?
Yeah. Yeah. Is it better?
Okay, next slide. I think I have mentioned some challenges due to this learning. So now, what can we do? I make it brief. What can we do now? Next slide. I would like to bring you actually to some communities such as Rumah Relawan Remaja, Limina, the Boarding School, Ruang International, Sigi Makassar, and some other community try to do activities as many as possible continuously through online to face this pandemic era. And what are the things that we can do? Next slide. I'm going to share a little bit about our project in Rumah Relawan Remaja. But first, I would like to bring you to Aceh, the westernmost part province in Indonesia. So here are the libraries that we have met in 7 villages in Aceh. That is in west part, east part, and also in south part. Next. This is the condition in the village, the place where we study, in the library, in the rice field. Even in the evening, the kids who are in 11 years old or 10 years old, if I'm not mistaken, who could not understand or recognize the letter well, he went to our volunteer to learn privately because he is shy to other friends. That is before pandemic, the condition where we can go directly to these villages. So then we tried to make it online, but you know what? There is some villages could not provide. There is no internet connection at all, even for phoning. So how could we facilitate them? The thing that we try to do is just to limit the number. So sometimes we send 1 or 2 only volunteers to come to that place and still teach the kids. Because of what? Because there is no class anymore. Even in the small village, even in the small island, where the teachers are there, they don't go outside. The students are there, they don't go outside. Why don't they do the learning process in the school? That sometimes comes to my mind, actually. So that's one thing that we try to do. We just limit the volunteer, but based on also the health procedure, of course. And the second thing, for the villages that can provide internet connection, we still do also online learning platform. We also made curriculum to teach them English online through WhatsApp. We teach also computer through online platform. But what happened? Sometimes the students couldn't hear well, like you are guys maybe during my sharing. There are some parts that couldn't be listened well because of my connection. That's also happened when we teach the kids online in the village, because to go to this village not easy way. The internet is not running well. So here are the fact. Next slide. This is my eyes. So the photo is only it's the documentation when I tried to do online class with the librarian, with the young people in the village. And yeah, you see, then this is the facts. It was confusing to adjust actually online learning, as we had not been prepared through simulation or practice beforehand. Even in the city, yeah, of course in the village it will be worse. And then the students reported the home learning program to be even more stressful than regular classroom, because sometimes, even though even if we meet our friends, maybe it will be more enjoyable. But then we are in the house and we can do nothing. We just see the screen and do many tasks than before. Then in the village, there is no class anymore, like as I shared before. Even the teacher and the students are in the village. The work and then the work a lot of online classes is like larger than the regular classes. And yeah, the last, the bad internet connection, especially in the village. Next. So yeah, short statement. Let's do more despite of many challenges. Thank you.
Okay, nice. Thank you for the presentation, Miss Rahmiana. I think it's a good point when we look education as a volunteer uh, focus, and also I think all participants we give once participants to ask directly to the speakers, to Miss Rahmiana. So, is there any question before? No? Okay. If no question, I think I have one question for Miss Rahmiana about the internet connection problem in the village region Indonesia, especially in Aceh. The rumah relawan remaja fokus to teach some uh, teens or maybe youth in there. And my question is, how about the local government in there to tackle this issue? Is what is it help? Is it worse to tackle this issue? Please, Miss Fahmi.
Okay, so talking about the local government, if they want to make regulation, they have to something like send their report to the higher level of them, and sometimes those policies, those policies are not accepted. So local government, I think, because as we are not having good relationship with the local government, in this case the villager leader, so I think they are trying their best in helping their communities better. But yeah, that's the case. And actually there are also policies that where the internet provider have been entered in the village. But you know what, I let me share one case in one village. It is in one rural area in one island. Can you imagine one island? So we call it Desa Lapeng. So in this Desa Lapeng or Lapeng village, there is an internet tower in the school, but the teachers couldn't use it. And then the villagers now, most of the villagers now are trying to have their own smartphone for watching on YouTube from morning to the evening. And they don't know, actually they don't know. So this internet tower isn't functioning well. It's only for watching YouTube and also for watching anything without any filter. That's that's the thing that I found in the village, because there is no some regulation uh, how to use this internet tools well. There is no activity yet that have been provided simultaneously for teaching the villagers that this is actually the function of this internet tower for our kids in maximizing digital learning. Yeah, that's the case, Jenny.
Okay, I think it's a good point. Yeah. So I want to know about the rumah one remaja strategy to to approach the local government or maybe other institution related with this issue, or maybe still on process to make something there?
Yeah. First, if we would like to talk to the local government, yes, we have talked to them, and we really have a regular meeting with them informally or formally, and it's still on progress. I think let's see how it works later. But the second thing, I got invitation last month from information minister of information in Aceh. Sorry, yeah, and actually I share about this, and I just only share about the fact that I've found in the Lapeng village, but they just stated that well, let's see how we can do together to tackle this issue. So I'm still waiting for its follow up.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Rahliana,
Thank
for
you,
your
Kevin. Thank
great
you.
presentation. So I think we continue to the next speaker, to Mr. Sarafut Fong. So wait, yeah. You want to share by yourself, or maybe the committee is to help you?
Yes, thank you. It's okay. I can share it myself. Thank you. Okay, so just to confirm, can everyone see the slide, right? Okay, thank you very much. So first of all, I would like to pay my respect to Mr. Sophia and also the member of Ruang International for inviting me to be the speaker of this, for sharing such an insightful look at how Cambodia actually developed the digital education and also the learning system in the era of this industrial revolution 4.0 to 5.0. So we can see that right now the world is moving quite fast, like too fast that we sometimes lose track of what is going on, what is happening. So let's see how we can actually track and also keep our pace with the technology. So a little bit of myself. Yeah, actually they have introduced a lot about myself already, so I'm just gonna say, yeah, my name is Wong Sarawat. Currently I'm a third year student in the Department of International Study, and what I like to do is that I love creating videos related to education, international relation, and Thai language. So basically I work a lot in terms of volunteer with education, and I have a lot of experience in working with the community as well. A few days ago, I just come back from a village that I went to train them in terms of about coding and programming as well to the kid in the village. So I'm also the co-founder of Youth for Youth. If you wonder what this logo right here is, actually my the group that I create to share about the opportunity, such as we can say scholarships, such as trainings and other kind of interesting webinars or events to our Facebook page and Facebook group for the Cambodian people to get involved. So yeah, that's about it. So let's jump to our content. So today I'm going to cover 6 main points. You can see on the slide. Yeah. First is I'm going to define what is digital education, what is learning system. Second, we're going to take a look at the Industrial Revolution 4.0 framework, because you might wonder, why do I talk about 4.0? Because we can see that 4.0 and 5.0 is interconnected with one another. So if we look at the framework of 4.0, we can see that what are the results, what are the things that we can get in terms of improvement to reach the industrial 5.0 in the future. Third, I'm going to cover about the institutional framework, about what the government actually regulate, what the government actually do to assist in terms of education and building the human capital. Fourth, I'm going to cover about technology innovation. Fifth is about human capital and education. Of course, this is the very main point. I'm going to talk a lot about it. And lastly is about the lifelong learning. What is it? Have you heard of lifelong learning? Maybe you heard of it, but not quite sure what it actually means. So let's jump to the first one. So digital education, just like what our previous speaker and keynote speaker has mentioned already, digital education actually the education that is actually use of the digital technology and tools throughout teaching and learning. Especially we can see the emerge of the digital education during this COVID-19 pandemic. Before, if you ask me what is Zoom, what is Google Meet, what is Microsoft Teams, I bet I do not know them as well. But now we get involved with it and it has become a part of our life. And it's going to continue to be a part of our life, not only just during this pandemic. The post-pandemic, we're still going to use it as well. So it's better to adapt with this education or digital education. And learning system, actually what is happening during this COVID-19 is that the learning system is changing from sitting in the classroom, listen to the teacher and answer the question and then go home. That was the life in the university or in the school before the COVID-19. But right now we can see that learning system is more of creating. What do I mean by that? Creating means other institutions such as organization or ministry, they start creating a lot of online learning materials to actually support students so that they can learn from home. They can learn everywhere that they go rather than just before we have to go to library, we have to go to school to get some sort of document, but right now we can find it online. Second is storing. Yeah, of course, after we create, we store it on Google Drive, or sometimes we store it in the website of the ministry where students can access. Yeah, and the third one is accessing. So students have to know how to access those material, how to download, how to use effectively. So this is how the learning system actually changing into this during the COVID and the post-COVID-19. So here the framework is quite messed up, but I'm just gonna talk about it one by one so you won't lose track. So to simplify it, it's actually taken off one of the Cambodian Research Center, and they actually talk about this Industrial Revolution 4.0 framework. So as you can see on the second level, we can see that the institutional framework on the left side, you can see that our government actually creating policy and regulation to actually deal with this fast changing world, especially in terms of technology, where everything is going to cloud storage, is going on the social media. So the government have to have the regulation on that to control the flow of all of those data and information. And second, we can see that the technology and the innovation, which focus on R&D, infrastructure, and network. I'm going to talk about each one of it in detail later, and technology adoption as well. Lastly, the human capital. We have included the STEM education and also the youth. Right now, it's actually not STEM. It has changed to STEAM. We add one more into it, but I'm going to talk about it later as well. University industry linkage. Before, students actually go to university and they graduate and they just go to find work by themselves. But right now, we actually connect the industry, the companies, and also the SME where they're actually working with those fields and provide internships and also opportunity for students after they graduate. They can actually go directly to those kind of places. So yeah, let's move to the first point. It's about institutional framework. So as I have mentioned earlier, the institutional framework is actually related to more of the government regulation and also what government has been doing. So first thing is about the data security. Of course, the data is everywhere. When you upload your file into the internet, it's actually the data already. So if there's no data security, your data will not be safe, will not be secure, and someone can steal your data, such as bank accounts, such as your personal information for to commit some sort of crime. So data security has been one of the concerns during this industrial 4.0, and probably in the 5.0 we are going to experience the same thing. And second is about law and regulation. In here, it focused more on the tax incentive for the development of SME. So how to encourage the companies or the industry to actually adopt technology to use in their place. So government actually encourage them by providing them the tax incentive in terms of the company that actually help other use. Let's say in Cambodia, there are a lot of competition, business competition where they engage the use of technology into it. And there are a lot of private companies that are actually sponsoring and providing fund for those people to actually improve and develop some sort of IoT related to business or IoT to help them with logistics and with those kind of business, which are really encourage those activity to increase the participation of young people into that field. And lastly, it's about intellectual property protection. To be honest with you, in Cambodia right now, we still have not achieved the proper intellectual property protection, especially in terms of people who create something new, the new invention. So sometimes there has been some reported cases where some people getting the ideas of those people and use it as their own. So intellectual property protection is still one of the concern here in Cambodia, but we are developing more regulation on that to protect the inventor and to promote more intellectual property protection as well. Yeah, that's about the institutional framework. Next one is about technology and innovation. So first is R&D infrastructure and network. As our speaker from Indonesia has already mentioned, in the provinces or in the rural area is still a concern in Indonesia. And in Cambodia, it's not much different if we go to some sort of rural area or some area that is far from the city. We usually have the problem of internet connection, and they do not have proper access to those kind of information such as social media or those material that I mentioned earlier that is provided by institution. So the development is still going on, and I hope it would boost the speed even faster for the people to have access to those things. And for technology adoption, like I mentioned earlier, that technology adoption has become one of the demands for the many business, such as, let's say before people actually operate grocery store in Cambodia, they actually just open the shop and welcome everyone to come and buy their stuff. But right now they start partnering with the delivery companies such as Grabs or such as Food Panda. In Cambodia, we have those kind of delivery service. So they start creating some shop, they even have their own apps, their own website or their Facebook page, or sometimes they have the connection or the agreement with those kind of part of Cambodian people life, such as the mobile banking is also very popular right now, and people are learning about how to use those kind of things. So it would assist us in terms of transferring our money by buying stuff online. It has become very active right now. And lastly, it's about government incentive that I mentioned earlier about the tax incentive that they provide to the people who work on this technology field. Here, the main part of my speech is about the human capital and education. So if we take a look at this part, it actually have a lot of components. First is about the labor market change. 4.0 is actually enabling the technology such as AI, robotics, big data, Internet of Things, as known as the IoT, and also cloud solution. So it's actually will disrupt every sector of the economy. It's going to insert itself into all human capital. So the new industries such as smart factory or fintech I think you have heard of fintech and those smart factory, and it requires a wide range of technology skill set. So the technology is here, but if our people do not know how to use it, do not know how to operate it, it's going to be a failure. It's not going to help anything. And also professions such as operator or robot programmers, data miners, and product and service researcher has become more demand in the market. And it's probably going to be more demand in the future, like data analysis, data analytics people who are going to work on those things. And there will be significant change in the labor market, like I mentioned, such as the integration of new technology, which will displace or it will replace some of the job that we are already aware that some job will be replaced by machine. But I'm talking about this is not to scare you, because in the 5.0, we are going to figure out how to develop our people to actually work well with those machines. Do not it doesn't mean that machine will totally replace us, but we will be the one who actually catch up with the technology and control of those machine as well. And for this, this one is about, the second one is about the STEM education. So right now it's actually the training of STEM education into our teachers has become the one of the part of what the Ministry of Education is doing. So they actually train about science, technology, engineering, and math to our teacher, and also the usage of technology platform to teach and to actually give access for the student to different materials. And we also integrate STEM education with other disciplines into the university student, such as the economics, commerce, and also finance as well. And not only that, we also have the, like I mentioned earlier, we actually integrate the university with the industry linkage, where it actually promotes the student that they do not have to worry what they have to do after they graduate from the STEM field, because they already have like MOU or some sort of connections with those companies where they actually can help the students to grow. And as you can see in the box that I put beyond just classroom. Learning in this 4.0 to 5.0 is not about going to classroom anymore. It's more about the student-centered approach, where students have to research on their own more than what they have. They can have the lecturer or teacher to be their mentor, their advisors, but most of the data we can find it just a click. You just go to your browser, in just a click you can find everything in the world. So it's quite important for you to adapt to this fast changing technology. And also in terms of technical and vocational education training, it actually focuses on the training as we call technical and vocational education and training, TVET, you might have heard of that. And it's actually ensure that the learner have the strong basic in terms of literacy skill and also the practical skill. It's not only just know about the theory, but it's practical. And it also promotes the soft skills such as problem solving, communication, and the people can actually use those skills at their workplace as well. Lastly, it's actually the human capital and education again is actually talking about the very significant skill that the experts that they actually expect people to have before we are moving toward the education the Industrial Revolution 5.0. So first is the problem solving skill, critical thinking skill, people management, negotiation, emotional intelligence, and creativity. These 6 skills, if you take a look closely, the AI or the artificial intelligence, they actually have their own we can see that the machine learning, right? They are so smart, they can do lots of things. But these 6 things, it's not easy for those machines, especially the emotional intelligence that the machine will hardly or never going to adapt into things. So we go to start learning skill. Cambodia right now, we actually integrate this kind of critical thinking and creativity negotiation. I actually learned it in my year 2 at university. So they start integrating those skills into the system. And lastly, I would leave you guys with a quote from the Alexander De Croo. He's actually the Prime Minister of Belgium. He actually mentioned that every industrial revolution brings along a learning revolution. So yeah, the world is moving forward, so we cannot learn in the same place. We have to get out and learn new things from new sources. And here are the useful links. So I think the committee can drop you the slide later and you can access to this article published by our Cambodian Research Center and also some others institutions as well. So thank you very much. And yeah, I hope everyone can actually get something from me today. And let's connect. If you have any question further after this discussion, you can always contact me through my emails or yeah, on my telephone numbers in my Telegram as well. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you very much for your great presentation, Mr. Ford. And I think I invite to one participants to ask directly or maybe respond directly about the Mr. presentation. Is there any question? Maybe you can raise hand and turn on directly your audio and talk or maybe ask to the speaker. Is there any question? Okay, maybe if no other question from the floor, I have one question for you, Mr. Sarafud. I want to know about how the government or maybe civil society to facing like the traditional activity or maybe customs in Cambodia, because as we know, this is one of the problem that some countries um, think like the different of the digital system and maybe the digital awareness in uh, village region and other how you face it.
Sorry, Mr. Jenny. Could you repeat? I mean, paraphrase the question since I think there's some problem with my connection.
Okay, I think I can write down to the chat box. Okay.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much for the question. So the question is how the government and civil society in Cambodia to adopt the digital education system without the life, the local heritage custom or other related. Okay. How could you specify like without their life in the local heritage custom and other related activity? What was that referring to?
That's okay. My point is how the government society in Cambodia to adopt the digital education system without their not live like live their uh, customs, their traditional activity to to enter the industrial revolution, like this.
Oh, okay. So you mean is it like how the government actually okay integrate the
Yeah.
is it like how the government actually integrated the technology into the society without without the effects to the local heritage? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, thank you very much for the question, Yo. So I think for this point is it's first is about the mindset of the people. So we can see that in the past when social media, let's say when social media start actually integrated into the Cambodian society, they are not all the people that actually are happy with the integration of those type of technology into it. Even like the mobile banking that we are using right now, it's still not all the people accept those. And in terms of education system, it's important for the government to actually work on the infrastructure first to actually not going to affect the related activity for of the people, because some of the people they are let's say some people might be left behind if we do not actually care about them or think about them that much. But the concept of leaving no one behind is quite important for the Cambodian society. So the government is working really hard in partnering with other private sector to actually boost the infrastructure faster and without the effect to the local people. So we have to change the way of thinking. They actually open the people's mind to understand more how important is the technology, especially in terms of how it can help the education and the development of the people in Cambodia. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for your answer, Mr. Sarafut. So I think we enter we continue to the next session, that is an Q&A session. So I invite to all participants to ask and respond directly about all speaker presentation. Okay. 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 We have one question on the floor. Wait. I try to read the questions from Maya in Indonesia. How about the curriculum implementation in Cambodia? So these questions they're to Cambodian speakers like Mr. Srafot and Mr. Sofia. How about the curriculum implementation in Cambodia? Like in Indonesia, we have some curriculum that had changed periodically, just like in 2013 curriculum, and now changed to another curriculum. Okay, I think Mr. Sraput or Mr. Sofia to answer this question. I think I tried to send again to the chat box. Yeah. Maybe Mr. Sofia.
Okay. Actually, I saw another question before that from Maya that asked about, is it hard for Cambodian people, especially for elementary and high school and higher education, high grade student, to face change, new era of education system? So I might answer this question first, and then maybe Mr. Sarawat can share some idea from that. Okay, so actually, I can say that when we are changing from one generation to another generation, especially for the development in in field of education, and especially with technology. It's not just take a one day to change or to adapt all of that. So it must be at least 2 or 3 years that we can do. Right now, we are trying hard because actually more or less we have to adapt the new system with the industrialization 4.0 because of the COVID-19. So everyone, it must be work from home, stay home, and then study by online, whether Zoom, Google Meet, or Google Classroom, or WhatsApp, or whatever. So it is a must. But the problem is that for the young, or for the kid, I can say elementary school and secondary school, they are so trying hard to do so because they need their parents to assist them, especially. So that's the key issue. But for higher grade, especially for like a grade 11 or 12 or about that, they a little bit easy to adapt with that because they know how to access the internet. Because in Cambodia, Facebook is the most accessible they can do. So they can search, they can check through some kind, like if they don't know something about the tip and tool, they just go to the YouTube channel and then they check, and then they know how to do that for the, I can say, like for the secondary school. But for elementary school or for kids or for teens, it must be so hard. They need a lot of assistance, especially from their parents. So therefore, I think it's not easy because we can say like the COVID-19, it seemed like a shocking issue. If we compare to like we travel to outside abroad, especially to Indonesia. If I don't know anything about Indonesia, it must be one surprise and impress me that we can say like cultural shock. What happened with that? Why they do that? Why the country is so nice and something like that? It must be that. So we have to learn, we have to adapt day by day, time by time, and year by year. So it's gonna take a lot of time, my time. So that's my answer. Thank you.
Okay, maybe Mr. Sarafot have additional answer to the question.
Well, thank you very much for the questions, and also thank you, Mr. Supir, for raising the answer earlier. I don't think I have much thing to add in here, but I think for I think the same thing, like for people in a higher grade, students can actually have access to the learning material by themselves because they actually know how to use those tools. But right now, I think that with the assistance of the people in the community, I'm not saying that every area in Cambodia, student in elementary school know how to use those kind of tools, but it starts from the city. Right now, I can see the positive sign that some young people, they learn to adapt to the new technology because they have the smartphone, have the tablet at home that they actually can learn how to use it since a young age. But for the people in the rural area, it's still a problem. But I'm also happy that right now we are having more and more people who actually work with us. That just like for me, that I actually have one partner with Hong Kong in a university in Hong Kong that they actually have the training for the young people, but it needs the assistance from people in the city to actually help them. So it will not be that fast, but it will actually develop from time to time, and it needs the assistance and the help for all people, especially people who have more fortune or who have more access to those kind of things. So in the community, I would encourage everyone to actually help others in the less fortunate community. Yeah, that would.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sarafut, for the answer. I think we have another participants would like to deliver their questions directly. Mr. Muhammad Brilliant, I think you can turn off your video or turn on your video, or maybe turn on your audio to asking directly to the speakers.
Very well. Thank you so much, Mr. Jianli. Um, Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon from Indonesia here. My name is Muhammad Brilliant. Thank you for this amazing opportunity, and thank you for several fabulous presentation as well from the speakers. Well, I would like to. I have several interesting questions, but I might just conclude two questions here. The first question is addressed to Mrs. Rahmiana. Uh, as we know that Mrs. Rahmiana is someone who is, how do we say, handling or living in the volunteerism for a long time, I guess. So it's obviously a problematic situations right now, as you might have some constraints in order to run or activate your programs, your volunteering programs. In conclusion is the situation is not the same anymore. So would you please explain what is the to activate, reactivate, or rerun the program again so your program in volunteerism could work again? And then, Mr. Gianli, could I have another question, if you would allow me, of course?
Yes, please.
Okay, now the question is addressed to Mr. Saravut or Mr. Sophia. Well, before this, you're talking about the Industrial Revolution 4.0 in Cambodia. Well, in Indonesia, it might have been an Industrial Revolution 5.0. Well, my question is it still possible to develop this kind of thing? I mean, uh, as we know, we are in the middle of pandemic situations right now, which might yeah, give some constraints to every single countries in the world, especially in industrial sectors. Well, is it still possible to develop industry in this kind of situation? And then
Sorry, Mr. Mohammed Brilliant, you can repeat again your question. You have another issue with your internet.
oh, okay, very well. My first question is, what might be what we call it? What do you need right now in order to reactivate your program again? The volunteering program. There might be some constraints problem regarding to your program. You might not be able to run your program again because of this pandemic situation, I guess. So in this situation, what might the most important activate your program again? And then the second question addressed to Mr. Saravut and Mr. Sophia. Is it still possible to develop industry in this type of situations, the pandemic situation? And if it is possible, what kind of industry are you trying to develop in Cambodia in this pandemic situation? Well, hopefully it's clear enough for you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Muhammad Brilliant, for the questions. I think I invite first to Miss Rahmiana to answer this question.
Well, thank you so much for the question. So there are three things I think that I can highlight that we are doing now in Aceh. The first is bringing limited numbers of volunteers to facilitate the villagers in the village. Previously, before pandemic, maybe more than 10 volunteers can go to the village, but because of the pandemic, we just limited 2 or 3 volunteers to come to facilitate them. And then, of course, still pay attention to the virus transmission and also the volunteer situation, health situation. The second thing that we do is shifting some activities into online activities, such as virtual exhibition. Actually, regularly we have exhibition where we showcase the children works, the children from villages to exhibit their works offline. But because of pandemic, so we did virtual exhibition last 2 years. For the first time in Aceh, there was the first exhibition that showcased the children from village works yeah, in Aceh. And then the third is shifting also some activities from offline to online, that for the villages that can provide internet connection, such as I said before, for instance, doing English class through WhatsApp group, something like that. Thank you, Muhammad Brilliant. Hopefully it answers your questions.
Okay, thank you, Miss Ramiana, for your answer. I invite to Mr. Sarafut first to answer the question.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. So actually, yeah, talking about Cambodia or other country in the world right now, we're facing the same thing, the COVID-19 problem. So it would not actually speed up the development, but it's still, I'm glad that it's still happening through online. And yeah, there are actually some I'm not specifically know what industry that the government actually focus on developing right now, but I can see that in many places they actually have the vocational trainings and the skills training for the people through online platform that actually support them to prepare for the post-COVID world. Because in the post-COVID world, we can predict that there would be more investment into our ASEAN region from other countries such as China or probably from European country into our region. So by preparing our people for that, it's actually can get them opportunity for the job requirement in the future. But for the industrial development, I'm not quite sure about that one. So yeah, that would be my idea on that. I think Mr. Sophia can have more idea on that. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Mr. Please, Mr. Sophia.
All right. So thank you, Mr. Muhammad, for your question, and then also Mr. Sravut at some point. Yeah, actually, I just add something that because of the COVID-19, we Cambodia is some kind like new to the world. And also, actually, the digitalization, I can say like industrialization 4.0, based on the speech of the Minister of Education in 2019 October. Actually, the Ministry of Education tried to adapt the system in early 2020. That's for the industrialization 4.0. That's his speech. So I guess, and from my perspective, is that I can say that it is 4.0 because based on the newspaper of you can say like Phnom Penh Post newspaper, they are known for that. So his speech is his speech about the foundation need for digitalization, especially focus on 4.0 industrial. So I think Cambodia right now is adapting the industrialization 4.0. And also at the same time, we have the COVID-19. So everything is transformed quickly to all the schools are temporarily closed in 2020. And then later on, after they close, the Ministry of Education, they announced that all the school, it must be closed the door, and they have to cut out some or just like suspend some staff and then to work from home. And all the teacher, it must be, or all the institution, especially with the private one or the state one, they have to have their own platform study, especially for teachers and for student learning. So at the time, we pop up like the first time of COVID-19, and then later on, it's some kind of like a more release from the COVID-19. So the Ministry of Education, they announced all the schools reopen the ground back. So at the time, not most of the schools, they try to operate as the normal, like we can say like a physical class. It must be hybrid. At the time, we call hybrid system for education. So hybrid system for education, it means that some classes, they might prefer in the classroom, and some they prefer from virtual program. Or other way is that, like in the classroom, we have like 30 students. So it might like half of them come to the class, sit with the social distancing, and then the rest, they can study from home by looking at Zoom and join the Zoom and some activity, they do that. So I think in this situation, Cambodia can adopt some form of industrialization 4.0 that I can say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the answer, Mr. Sofia. So we have, I think, 2 questions again, and then we take from the chat box. This is from Vanessa from Indonesia. The question is, can we as young people survive in this industrial revolution era, especially how is it in job area, because there is so many young people out there that also competitive. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think the questions addressed to all speakers. I think I try to deliver one question also to all the speakers.
Shelly,
You try.
is it possible?
Yeah.
You can copy that question, put into the
Oh,
chat,
okay.
because I cannot find that.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Wait. Yeah, this is the first questions. And the second questions, I think the question addressed to all speakers, so I continue to the next questions. The question comes from Fanswe from Cambodia. To all speakers, in your perspective, how we solve the problem of internet connection in rural area in order to promote the education system? I think the first from software.
I think I would like to answer the first question first.
Okay, please.
So yeah, it's quite interesting. Like the question, how can the young people survive in this industrial revolution era, especially in the job area? So first thing first, that we all have to aware that everyone is in the lockdown. Everyone is suffering from the COVID-19. But if the one who can catch the opportunity during this lockdown and use their time to the fullest would be the most beneficial. How do we do that? There are 5 things that I would love to raise up for this question. First is improve your hard skills. That is the major or the skills that you already have and the future job that you want to have. But do not neglect the importance of technology into your integrated into your hard skill. How do we do that? Sometimes it might sound weird that the person like me who study international relations to actually adopt technology into my field, but it's possible because currently we also have to integrate lots of technology things such as data research, let's say data analytics, those kind of tools, technology tools. We have to understand about IoT. We have to understand about AI, those kind of things. It's important for all the people to at least know about it, what it is, and how can it help you in your field. So let's say for my field, we actually have to use a lot of communication in iOS. So we have to adapt to different tools. Which one is the best that we can use? So learning those skills during this lockdown, it would be a plus without wasting our time. Second is about the soft skill that I mentioned earlier. After this, everyone can actually know how to do things, but who can do the best would be the winner. So you actually have to improve your own soft skill in terms of communications, collaboration, creativity, those kind of skill. And third one is about keeping update with the news. We knows about this thing through the news, through the articles that we can find it online. So update yourself with the news. Even if you are not political science or IO students, even you are engineering student, you have to know what the world is moving toward. So you can catch the opportunity earlier than the other people. Fourth is about the building connection, not only with people in the country, but also people outside your country to actually know what is going on in Cambodia, what is going on in the US, what is going on in the Europe. So when you know all of those things, you can actually catch the opportunity as well. Lastly, it's about learning language. I'm not sure if you are interested in learning new language or not, but as what I have observed, mostly in Cambodia, English will become the normal second language in the future, which means that knowing just two languages is not going to be enough anymore in the new changing world. At least three languages that is required for you to survive in this fast changing world. So these are the 5 things that I would recommend you to actually take a look and try to improve to to catch up with the new era. Thank you so much.
May I add on, Mr. Janli?
Okay, please.
So for this question, I would like, instead of learning new skills, I would like add two points. The first is about finding also supportive environment that will help you to improve your skills, even your new skills. And you have to learn new skills, especially now during this pandemic. There are many sources that we can get easier than before. And lastly, I would like to say, if you cannot find the opportunity, let's create the opportunity. Yep, thank you.
Okay, I think to Mr. Sophia.
Yeah, actually, I can add on more to Mr. Sarawat. Actually, Mr. Sarawat, he has covered almost everything. But to me, I just like overview, because everything is I can say like everything is in I can say like it's ours, not others. So it must be ourselves know what to do and what you need firstly. So even though any circumstances, if you are strong enough, you are smart enough, and then the choice is you, and the opportunity gonna be you, no someone else. So the thing is that try to self-access, self-learning, and self-pushing yourself to reach out to what you want. Especially you have to know your goal. You have to have your own vision. What do you want to be? Why you are here? Why you are at school? Why you are at work? Especially you have to know that. So when you know about what you need, what you want, and you go your mission and vision, you know what you're gonna do. Even though any hard situation or easy or whatever, you can do something well. I can raise one question, one story that the student at grade 12, some of them they disappointed because they are trying hard to study, but later on, because of the COVID-19, the ministry they try to automate pass the exam, and then some of them they don't feel well and they disappointed that they try to study hard. They want to be a smart student, But why the Ministry of Education in Cambodia decided to let all the students in grade 12 pass the exam automatically? The thing is that I try to explain them that if you are a smart people, you still a smart one. No one can better than you. So the smart people, whenever situation come up or any struggling, you are the one who can take the first opportunity than the others. So example, we can say like the smart people, they always one step ahead of the other people. So I can explain them that you don't need to disappoint it because you have a lot of chance. You can use your own smartness to apply to study abroad, to get a grade A or scholarship program at other country. So don't care about those situations, because everything, it must be flexible. You cannot stay still the same thing. Even though right now we across a lot of revolution, right? From the first revolution until right now, industrial revolution 4.0 in Cambodia. But for Indonesia, that's 5.0 already. So therefore, if you don't try hard to yourself, you're gonna run after 2 or 3 another smart people. So everything is on you. And then I can say like, your destiny is in your hand. If you want to keep it, you want to release it, that's you. No one else can push you or ban you or whatever. That's my idea. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much to all the speakers who answer all the questions. I think we have a limited time, so once again, I would like to thank you to all the speakers for their valuable sharing and also knowledge to all the participants. And also thank you for all participants asking some questions to our speakers today. So I obviously I will close our webinar session, and I invite to the Master of Ceremony to continue the agenda. Thank you.
Hello. Okay. Finally, we come to the end of ICYIP 2021 Season 4. And before that, we will listen closing remarks from Ms. Tival as Human Resource Manager of Wrong International. And after that, please to all people in this room to stay, to moderator, to all to speakers and all participants. Please stay here after we listen the remarks from Ms. Tival because we have photo session together. Please, Ms. Tival, to give closing remarks. Thank you.
Okay, thank you to Ms. April as the MC. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for all speakers for a really insightful presentation for all of us. I hope that can give us the good impact, especially during the pandemic, as we know that nowadays all things are changed into the digitalization. And as you guys told us that we have to take the positive things from what actually happening in this world. What actually happening in this world, like we have been facing COVID-19 for almost 2 years or probably more, that we don't know when exactly it will end. But overall, like we have to take positive things, positive impact. That as the speaker said, as Ms. Rahmiana said, as Mr. Sophia, as Mr. Saravut said, that the digitalization things also give the good impact, such we can learn a lot of things. We can learn new skills from there. But beside of that, like the weakness, the bad impact of the digitalization, that not all people could understand, especially to the remote places, to like in villages, because there's the socialization from the government, for example. And this is as the step for us also to contribute for the society, to give the socialization about how important the digitalization and the technology is for for our life, especially for and pandemic situation, because all the things, all the system are just changed. And I hope that from this webinar, from the presentation, from a really good presentation from all our speakers, our amazing speakers today, can give a really good impact, and we can be aware of how important the technology is for education especially. And I hope that we all stay safe during the pandemic, as we know we have the second breakout in Indonesia especially. And I hope that you guys are stay safe and take care of yourself. Just stay at home if there's no important things. And that's all from me. Thank you very much for your attention. I'd like to give the floor back to the MC.
Okay, thank you for the remarks from Ms. Tival Shahla Abdafiota. And then, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you to stay here. And now we will take a picture together in photo sessions. Please to turn on the camera and give your best smile. Okay. Okay. For this who have not turned off the camera, please to turn on the camera because I want to see your pretty or handsome face right now. We're still waiting for you all. Okay. 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 I think it's enough. I will count it. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Keep smile. 1, 2, 3. Cheers. Okay. Once again. 1, 2, 3. Okay, all right. The photo session done. I just want to say thank you for our moderator, to Mr. Jenly Manuel Bagenza. Thank you. And two speakers, Mr. Chia Sopia. Thank you, Mr. Sopia. Yeah. And thank you for Ms. Miana Rahman. Thank you, Miss. And then the last thank you for Mr. Sarabut Fong. Thank you. Okay, and thank you for the presentations you give with knowledge, especially me, and open our minds from your presentation about digital education and learning system in the era of the industrial revolution 4.0 to 5.0. And thank you so much to all participants who join and stay in the room until now. I do apologize for my mistakes in presenting. Thank you. Stay safe, keep healthy, and see you guys at the next ICYIP Season 5.
Thank you very much for having us. Okun.